Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chris Brown, Dave, and we just got done watching the last Naruto the movie.
For me, it was the first. I've never watched anything Naruto until I watched this, and I can say honestly, I liked it better than Goku.
It's our anime, folks. He knows how to make it awkward. Alright.
I'm sorry.
You feel like sentimental for some reason with this. Like it's like, it was a part of me. So what happened?
Oh no, that's totally not what I was doing. We'll go with that. It's less awkward.
Alright, so, this series, this movie in particular takes place right when the series ends. The war is over. Peace has become part of the land, you know. We're just living life at this point.
All the shinobis are pals.
Mm-hmm. And so...
They got each other on speed dial.
And so, real quick, the idea of this movie is there's kind of an A plot and a B plot to this whole thing that kind of mesh together towards the end of it. Our first plot of the story is a love story. We're actually seeing what seems to be the last-ditch efforts of the Hinata-Naruto love scene. And then...
Go ahead, keep going.
At which we finally get to the culmination that we're finally getting to see these two finally be together, which takes pretty much the entire damn movie. Then the second part to this is the fact that the Earth is actually in danger of being destroyed.
Wait! By what?
The moon. So now you got the 5 Kages trying to figure out how to solve that problem.
And the moon crashing into the Earth is less painful than the love story.
Why in the world are you doing this? you really are like...
It's so dumb! I've had feelings for you since I was 6. Well, fucking tell somebody!
No kidding. And so, like I said, those two stories kind of end up intertwining towards the end of the film.
Because the bad guy wants to marry some chick he don't know.
Well, it happens. Well, that's
because of her eyes.
Yeah.
So, to impress her, he steals her sister. And then, her sister's eyes.
Haha. All this, and all
and
that.
More.
And a whole lot more. And so, all this is basically to fulfill some prophecy to what he thought his ancestors wanted. Well, of course, you know, all said and done, our heroes of the story, obviously, Naruto, Hinata, Sakura, Shikamaru, and Sai, if you've kept up with the Naruto series. Those 5 are the ones who go in and save the day. So, bring everyone back home, everyone's calm and ready, and years pass, and at this point, Naruto and Hinata have... Yes?
Is it safe to say that this movie is just kind of a poor vehicle to say goodbye to everyone who's watched this? I mean, this is kind of like the payoff of the whole entire series.
Actually, yes.
It's like the love letter to all the fandom.
It is, because for the entire series, everyone's known that, you know, at some point Hinata's gonna get with Naruto. At some point, it's gonna happen. There are people who wanted Naruto to be with someone else.
The pink-haired girl?
Yeah, Sakura. Which I go, nah, I don't see that personally, and I'm glad it didn't happen. But the Hinata Naruto bit is finally, it's like we're finally getting that closure that we didn't quite get with the series, per se.
I mean, all in all, the movie is not a terrible story. It's not a good story. There's a lot of interesting scenes. There's a lot of stuff that me as a person who have never watched anything about Naruto, the only reason I knew any of the characters' names was from playing the deck builder game with you.
Yes, gotcha.
So, like, I thought the girl saw ghosts. I thought that was why her eyes were weird.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I had to explain to you what it actually was.
So, not being a fan of the series, the movie didn't mean much. There's a bad guy. He lives on the moon. He wants to crash the moon into the Earth. He's gonna marry this chick, and they're gonna be Adam and Eve and repopulate the Earth, maybe.
Something like that nature.
There's a dorky guy who doesn't realize that the main character, or main female character, loves him until like 2/3 through the movie. And then there's support group who want to either be smart aleck, sassy semi-gay friend.
Yeah.
The one who does all the ink drawings.
Yeah.
Was he like that all the time?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's just the way he is. He grew up in such a way where being tactful,
artistic.
well, no, being tactful just isn't in his nature.
Gotcha. And then Sakura kind of plays the big sister to all of them, it seems.
Well, Sakura's the true mediator because she knows what's going on from both ends.
Isn't she the healer?
Yes.
Also, the medic in this group. So that does make her a little bit more inclined to try to work things out and be peaceful and, don't make my job harder by beating each other in the head.
Pretty much.
Okay.
So, like I said, this is kind of the input. And for those of you who know, Boruto's been out for quite some time now. Both the series and the movie that preceded that. And, yes.
What is that?
Boruto?
Yes.
That's Naruto's son.
Oh, God.
Basically, they've continued the series, but it's years later, and his son's now the main character of the story.
Is he still alive?
Naruto?
Yeah.
Yes.
So he didn't die like his parents?
No.
Then how does he expect his son to become a hero?
Yeah, we can get into Boruto later.
We need to totally go over there and shoot his parents in an alleyway?
No, I don't think that's going to work the same way. I really don't.
Okay, I'm sorry, we gotta stab them with kunai.
Still not going to work the same way. Anyways, folks...
You will become Ninja Man.
No! Stop!
With his sidekick, Throwing Star.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
Sadly, that'd be his sister or something of that nature.
Oh, God.
Anyways.
There's two. There is another.
Yes, there is. So, like I said, towards the end of the film, where finally everything is done, said and done, we get to the point where they come back as heroes. They get rewarded, and we get to our, wedding and marriage scenes where Naruto and Hinata finally got together, and they've had their kids at this point. And so that's actually the gap that happens in between, or part of the gap in between, the end of the series and the beginning of...
The spinoff.
Yeah, not even really a spinoff, it's just a new series in general.
Oh.
It's realistically, it's still a continuation of the same freaking thing. It's just that instead of Naruto being the main character and the focus is on him, it's his son now. That's all it is. So they've had spin-offs, but this one's more of a sequel to the original series.
Sure.
So we can go with that.
Word.
So there's that. We can go into bits and scenes later on as we go through. And we've been trying to kind of keep it semi-spoilerific. We've pretty much hit the high points of what you would already know from just
reading the back of the
box, or what you would pretty much already know from it. So, let's hit visuals?
Sure.
Alright, so visually I like this movie. I do like the beginning part of this where they kind of do the whole drawings and stuff like that versus doing straight...
right, where they're telling like the narration in the
narration at the beginning of how, like, the beginning of Ninja and da-da-da-da, yada yada. And they kind of do like this quick speed run where it's like, alright, and modern times. So, and realistically, the animation style is really really neat and nice. I don't know why I want to say neat and neat for some reason.
Neat and clean?
Neat and clean is what I was trying
like
to get
my
at.
scotch.
Oh, God. And, so, I lost train of thought. How would you want to take it on this?
I don't really have a dog in the fight. I'm giving it 1 star. There was something weird about the animation to me. It almost looked like it was 2.5D.
It's
because
like
it's flat 2D and they're trying to be 3D.
that's part of that actually comes from the fact that they're drawing using computers, their computer animation.
Okay.
It's not necessarily that it's in 3D, but the animation style using the computers just kind of gives you that semi-illusion to it. And so bits and pieces of it probably had a little bit 3D to it to kind of give a little extra flair.
There are effects that I like. There were things that I found distracting.
A lot of shows started to do that, where a lot of your effects kind of go into that 3D mode for a minute,
Right.
and it kind of, unless it's painfully obvious, it's not going to, shouldn't take you away from what's going on. It's not like, what's that series? Blue Submarine #6, where that was the original 2D meets 3D show,
Okay.
and it's almost as if it was 2D meets Reboot. Yeah, and trust me, it don't hold up.
Hey man, Reboot was great in the 90s.
Oh,
And then,
Reboot was fun. Reboot was fine.
Somebody invented Windows 98 and things got better. I mean, don't get me wrong, and you go back and watch, like, did you ever see Starship Troopers, the cartoon?
Yes.
Or Beast Wars? When they came out, they were amazing, and 10, 15 years later, they're not. They are horrible looking.
But in terms of this movie, it's not that bad. It's
just wonky.
Wonky at places. So 1 seems about right for that.
Okay.
So now we hit to the audio. In my opinion, the audio hits it right where it needs to be. You get the calm, sweet music in certain places.
I heard green sleeves.
That's at the beginning when they're doing the narration.
I heard biwa lutes and Japanese flutes.
Mm-hmm.
Guitar riffs when the fight had to pick up.
Heck yeah.
The special effects did well.
Yeah.
And everybody screamed appropriately. So I give it 2 stars as well.
I mean, 2 stars is, like, to me, it was on point. Like,
This did exactly what you wanted to do.
Naruto gets fired up, all of a sudden, that's when the music hits.
Right.
Like, you didn't hear it before then until he was like, I ain't done with you, bitch. Oh, you know?
Appropriate, soulful music when people are remembering sad childhood memories. You know, all that stuff just builds perfectly.
And it just accompanies the scene very well. So there's that.
In fact, as far as I'm concerned, music was the best part of this whole anime.
I would actually agree with that fully.
And you even liked the anime.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I've always liked Naruto. I never followed it as hard as maybe some diehard fans out there in the world. But it's because at certain places it really died for me. But yeah, that's kind of what it does. It does what it does, and it does it really well. Like
the music. Oh yeah, I mean, if I was ever going to tell somebody name of an anime movie that you've seen that the music carried it, this would be the one.
Yeah. We can hit the story, and like we were saying, the story, like the story is the story for pretty much the entire movie is 100% love story. With all of it really is when you think about it, because
everything's a vehicle for it.
It's because the background story still kind of fuels that love story.
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing with you,
Yeah.
but you know, there's a little political intrigue, and then there's guest spot, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't know the characters, so the guest spots didn't
Didn't really matter.
And, hey, is that the guy with the sand?
Yeah, he shows up eventually.
The only reason I knew him was because of death battles. He fights Toph from Avatar.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Spoilerific.
Yeah.
Toph wins. Duh.
Yeah. No, I should have thought about that before I even asked. I'm about to say.
What's he do? He controls sand. She controls all Earth elements.
Yeah. Fair enough. So, in this entire story, the beginning does drag on at places to the point where, like,
And the foreshadowing, oh my god, it's not a foreshadowing if it's like a poster on the wall going, hey, the moon's gonna fall down, and you gotta spend one day with someone you love. Who's it gonna be? That is so important, they do it 3 times.
That's the entire film. They remind you every single time. And the part that always got me, you'll never hit me, Naruto. You'll never hit me, Naruto.
You'll never lay a fist upon
me.
me.
You'll never fall me.
Wait. Scene number 1. Naruto as a kid loses his scarf. Scene number 47 of them, she's knitting a scarf.
I was like, it kills me. Every single time I was like, why?
Now, I will try to give this credit. It's not designed for 30-plus-year-old people. This is designed for 12-year-olds to 20-year-olds, I'm sure.
Yeah, roughly around that.
You know, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be light. It's not supposed to be deep. It's an action movie that is trying its best to be a romance.
It really is.
For me, I'm going to be a dick. This movie's story is a 0. Now, if you like Naruto, if you know what the hell's going on, it's probably a 1.
At least.
For me, it's a 0. It doesn't deliver for anything.
See, that's the only issue to this movie, is you kind of already had to know what was going on beforehand between Naruto and Hinata.
Oh, I don't know. They'll just tell you 16 times.
Well, that's the kind of the kicker to this, is they're telling you, okay, at this point, this is where the love started. This point is where it kind of started to mature. This is the part where at least one side was truly definitive, yes, I love this person, the other person's still being a dumbass. And I'm pretty sure y'all who are watching who know Naruto know which one I'm talking about. Anyways, the whole thing about the story is I do give it a 1 because I am familiar with it. However, I think over foreshadowing and the blatant, I'm going to tell him. I'm not going to tell him. I'm going to tell him.
The only way the plot could have been any more obvious is if there was a door in the anime that said, to find the plot device, open the door.
Yes. So, nothing hidden in this film, not even at the beginning.
Worst ninjas ever! They wear orange safety suits!
Only one of them wears an orange safety suit.
He looks like a pilot for the Rebel Alliance. Take him away. Like, who are you hiding from? Even blind people are like, dude, turn that jumpsuit down a little bit. And his boots! They're open-toed!
I don't know why you have a problem with that.
Open-toed boots?
Look.
Listen, if he was wearing Geta or sandals or crap like that, okay, sure. It fits the theme.
Yes.
He's wearing army boots that are open-toed.
Oh, God. Listen to you talk about that.
It's so stupid.
It's hilarious. Oh.
And look, he's wearing his little Nazi Hitler youth band on his arm. I know that's not really what it is, but...
You are terrible sometimes.
He's wearing, like, the traditional black student jacket that buttons up. It's just got a big red armband here. And I'm sure it has, like, some kind of ninja sign on the side of it that means something, but... And the headbands. Sometimes they're headbands, sometimes they're neck guards, whatever.
It just depends. A lot of the ninjas wear them on their heads, a lot of them wear them on their necks.
What does his emblem mean, if it means anything?
On top of his head?
Yeah,
That means he's part of Leaf Village.
Leaf Village?
Yes. There are different other ninjas from other countries, so they have different symbols on their
So
heads.
does Leaf Village get destroyed by Fire Village, but does really good against Water Village?
Sometimes I need it. You are...
Are these ninjas, are these shinobi, you gotta catch them all?
Shut up! Yeah.
Train them to be the very best?
Quit mixing genres. No. No. Anyways, overall enjoyment for this movie.
I'm gonna give it a 1. It's head and shoulders above that Dragon Ball movie you made me watch. That was shit on a shingle.
You hate one person out of that entire movie, so it brings the whole movie down.
No, I hate one person in that movie, and the movie was stupid.
I thought the movie was fine. I still think you're angry over one freaking character.
The movie, first of all, this movie's a little bit better than that movie because while I do think the story in here is crap, I at least give it credit in going, hey, if you know what's going on, you'll probably enjoy it. Dragon Ball Z movie that we watched had no story. It was 90 minutes of them beating each other up because some guy wanted to come up and say, hey, you remember that time you beat me up? Now I'm going to beat you back up. And then there's this cat god that goes, well, if y'all don't do it real good, I'm just going to kill the earth unless you have, strawberry parfaits!
Once again, sad part is, once again, you're still in that same position of, if you saw the series before this, you know what the hell's going on.
At least this entertained me and I didn't know what was going on. Dragon Ball Z made me want to harm myself physically, but I had ice cream to save my life. So I guess I'm not too mad at the cat god.
I still think you just have an issue with Goku.
I have probably about 3 issues with Goku, and I'm not saying it doesn't flavor the movie, but the movie was bad anyways.
I'm telling you, man.
Had it been Voltron fighting somebody just for the sake of fighting somebody, it still would have been a bad movie.
Yeah.
At least in this one, there's a cardboard villain who steals the damsel, and the dorky hero saves the damsel. Oh, and the Earth. It's third grade writing, but at least it's something.
Alright, fine.
And I was entertained by this. There were scenes that the action was fun. There were scenes where the character development developed.
Yes.
And I didn't even know the characters and I could see some growth. There were scenes where there was comedy that was worthwhile. There was a snowman who had a ninja headband. Why not?
That's fair. So, ladies and gentlemen, even I have to give it a 1 because, not because I didn't necessarily care much for the movie, it's just that the movie fills in a gap that between series to sequel series, and it did what it
So
was.
by itself, it's not really a movie.
It's kind of one of those things where if they were able to do that as like a small OVA series,
Yeah.
I think it would have been just as good.
And this movie could have been Yeah, if they turned this movie into several episodes, an arc, and gave a chance for the bad guy to develop.
That's the only problem with movies is you have a bad guy who's never been introduced in this entire series whatsoever, showing up saying, "Hey, I'm this person," blah blah blah, from like,
And let me crash my house into your Earth.
yeah, it's like, and I'm like, okay, I'll say, sure, why not? You know, random heroes, random bad guys just show up out of nowhere. Okay, whatever. And that's the only thing that always got me is that you have a bad guy that's quick backstory, who he is, what he wants to do, done. Okay. Why should I care?
Exactly.
But alright. If you're all keeping the score at home, I personally gave this a
You gave it a 5. I gave it a 4.
Which I think so far has been pretty close to not necessarily the lowest, because I think we've given some. Something else.
I gave the Dragon Ball a 2, and I've given other 4s.
I take your 2 for Dragon Ball pretty much correct.
And to be fair, this one could score higher in the story department if you knew the story ahead of time.
Even I kind of already roughly knew what the story was. I hadn't actually seen the movie.
Well, what I mean is if you had watched the series beforehand.
Makes sense.
I'm a Star Trek fan, so I feel a lot more comfortable talking about Star Trek films.
Yeah.
Watching Star Trek 2, 3, 4, they kind of stand on their own. 3's a little rough because you kind of got to know what happened to 2. But in Generations, if you hadn't watched The Next Generation, then the movie's really odd.
Makes sense.
So, you know, I can see as a fan of a series watching a movie going, yeah, I can see how not fans would have a hard time with that. You know, people can complain about the comic book movies, but you don't really need to be a comic book fan to watch a comic book movie.
No.
The movies tell themselves. And even if you don't know who the character is, he still flies, or he still swings through the town on strings out of his gloves. What do you need to know? He walks on walls.
True.
You know.
Makes sense.
This guy makes clones of themselves, and they're the worst ninjas ever. They're more wizards than they are ninjas. They keep doing magic tricks with their personal energy. The guy who kept bringing things to life out of drawings was more interesting to me than any of them.
Yeah. Well,
What did the other guy do? He did shadow stuff?
Yeah, he's a shadow binding type jutsu, stuff like that. So he's able to actually control people with the shadows.
And the pink-haired girl, Sakura, she was the cleric.
Well,
and Hinata was technically the ranger because she could track things. Because she could see real good.
Yes. I mean, Sakura...
Not that we know anything about that. With glasses.
Who knows? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're done here. So, I'm Chris.
I'm not entertained.
He's Dave.
I'm Dave.
That was 8 Star Anime, folks. Have fun.